What's going on, guys? Next day here. Still working on the cam swap, third day in a row. Definitely overshot the landing on this one. I thought we were going to be able to get it done in a day, but that's because I'm used to working in normal conditions. Johnny just bought a vise and it's sitting on the floor and ain't even bolted to nothing. So that's this guy. And we got most of the trunnions done. All right, guys, later on here, same day. If you can't tell, show them the temperature, Johnny. Welcome to Texas. Thanks for talking me into this.
Yeah, this is awesome.
So we've been plugging away pretty much all day. I ran into a couple of more issues I'll share with you guys. One was this bolt got really tight on us, so we went out, we got a tap and rethreaded that hole, so we got that in there. We went out and bought some Lucas like assembly lube, lubed everything up here so we don't dry fire, and we got all the rockers rebuilt today, and we got them in here on the stanchions, torque to spec. We used the Brian Tooley rebuild kit, came with some 12-point hardware. It's actually a little different than the Texas Speed kit I used before, but I think that this kit is going to be a really nice kit. As you know, we just barred the motor over several times, got the new pump on there. We got to torque that down to spec, but we're messing with the oil pan right now, which has kind of turned into a project Johnny's been messing with, because we're trying to just drop on the Trailblazer. You're supposed to be able to drop the pan far enough to take the pan out, and then we can replace the pan gasket and stuff, since we took it all apart to do the oil pump. However, with this having the long tube headers, you said it's hitting the...
Yeah, we're not gonna be able to back out the bolt all the way. It's gonna like deadhead on it.
Deadhead on the headers.
And then we won't be able to drop that rack pinion. So then the pan can't come out.
So we're kind of wrestling with eat it and just clean this pan up real well. I think that this gasket looks fine and put it back on. A little RTV on the corners. Or do we eat it and go say, okay, well, we got to pull the long tubes, and which probably isn't. Either way, it's going to be, it's a job either way, especially with the point that we're at with it. So, but regardless, as you see, a little sprinkles on the windshield here. It's freezing cold here in Texas. So what we're going to do now, since we wanted to make sure the top end was done, we're going to put the valve covers on. We're going to get the fuel injectors in the intake manifold. We're going to get the intake manifold back on to seal the top end of the motor up as much as possible, and probably at least just put the front cover on so that we don't get any bad weather into this motor. So, any words of wisdom?
Hell no. I'm ready to be done.
All right, so it was a job and a half, but we got the oil pan off of it. And the thing that made it a big job, and I'll just try to help you guys out if anybody's watching this working on a Trailblazer, the long tube headers really got in the way of pulling the bolt for the steering rack. So we completely loosened the long tube headers, just threw a bungee cord on it, brought it back, and that gave us enough room to get the bolt out, because without removing the header with long tube headers on a Trailblazer SS, the bolt from the steering rack runs into the header, so you have to loosen all that up and lift the rear end of that long tube out of the way. So that's what we did, and we were able to drop the pan. So we're going to put our new pan gasket on. We got our intake manifold on, torque to spec. We got all our coil packs on. We got our wiring harness button back up. We just finished. We put this piece on here from Improved Racing. I'll go down under the car and show you that here in just a second. So we got our pickup tube bolted down, torque to spec. Oh, it's a mess under here, so sorry. But if you can see that, that's a piece right there. That's from Improved Racing, so we're able to put a bolt on either side of the pickup tube. I really think that's a great modification if you're doing anything LS related with the oil pump or the cam. Go ahead and put that on there so you have a clamping force on both sides of your pickup tubes. All the oil pumps have holes on both sides, so it just makes sense. We can see the torque converter back there. I looked up in there with the bore scope. Everything looks healthy. We're pretty happy with it. So, all right, so one thing Johnny got lucky doing this cam swap was I'll show you guys the new parts real quick. So this Roller Master cam gear comes with a bearing on the backside of it in case it comes in contact with the cam retention plate. He had already ordered a new cam retention plate because they're so cheap and they come with new bolts, and it's just a smart idea. And if you see now, we got our new cam gear with the bearing and everything, and there's absolutely no play in it. Well, when we went to take the old one out, I was like, man, this cam's got a lot of play in it. So we started looking at it. Show them what you found, dude. Here's the old retention plate. Look at that. So that cam gear over there, the cam was actually moving back and forth, and that cam gear dug into, look at all the
score
metal stuck on that. Had dug into the retention plate so bad it probably took 1/3 of its thickness out, and the cam was actually coming so far forward it hit the front cover. Look at that, how wild. So it's just a stock single bolt cam. You can see the bolt had been tore up from contact in the front. Look at that, guys.
It's almost like it wrote on it. It's crazy. It's perfectly machined.
Yeah. So we don't know what was causing that, and you know, like I said, we replaced it with all good name brand parts, and it's not an issue now just looking at it. And it was an issue just physically touching it by hand when everything was hooked up earlier, so we're hoping that it's fixed. We got that old stock oil pump out of there. That thing was junk. But hey, public service announcement: cam swap your LS motors.
Yeah, no kidding.
Get another 100,000 out of them.
If you ever need a reason to cam swap,
this is
just
it.
want to make sure, you know?
Show your wife. Say, listen. I mean, and honestly, you're lucky you're doing this when you're doing this, because this
could have been bad. Daily driver.
We found some metal like behind the front cover. It didn't look like it made it to the oil pan yet. It was stuck like on the cam on this piece here on the chain guide. There was metal stuck on that. There was metal stuck on the old cam gear, so we don't think it got to the oil pan. And if it did, we're hoping the filter did its job. We looked up under the windage tray, everything looked good, but man, you seriously might have saved yourself an entire engine just doing a cam swap. So welcome back to the world's longest cam swap. It's about 10:30 at night, day 4. We were debating, do we fire it up tonight, do we fire it up tomorrow? Everything's done to the point where we fire it up, but we want to know if anything's wrong with it. We want to know right now, so we're gonna go ahead, crank it up, see what's up, and then hopefully tomorrow we'll be hooking the laptop up to it. So seen a little spark down in there again.
Think we blew a fuse?
Yeah, we might have. I don't think, did we miss a ground wire? I mean, what ground wire did we take off? We didn't take a ground wire off, did we?
I mean, on the body?
No.
We added one to it. Took it off the...
Does your Lincoln filter box normally make a light?
No. It's supposed to be.
Dude, I swear I've seen a light down in there twice now. Spark plug wire might be off or something.
It's just weird because like my key is on, but nothing is.
Huh. Can you turn your lights on?
Oh shit. Okay, we're getting some. Might be just so dead, dude.
Welcome back to the world's longest cam swap, day 5. So funny story, because I know all you guys care and you're still tuned in at this point. We had to remove the starter. Oh, this looks a little dirty. There we go. We had to remove the starter to put this locking tool in on to engage the flywheel. When we went to torque down the crank pulley, the harmonic balancer bolt, the ARP bolt, to the correct specification. And the starter on this truck was so old and so worn out. That was it. Something happened just from sliding the starter back, sliding the starter forward, that a wire cracked and was exposed, and the starter was locked up, and it was creating such a draw that we're pretty sure that was the issue. We took the starter off, took it to the parts store. They put it on their thing, said bad starter. So we bought a new starter. Dash lights are on.
Yep.
About to try first start up again, and fingers crossed, send one up for us, boys. It's close. Oil pressure. Well, your dash on your
I ain't reading yet.
yeah, but the one on the dash is up, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Maybe try to give it a little gas. Tune's way out.
Got oil pressure. I let off.
It don't want to stay running, huh?
Yeah, I'll try again.
All kinds of smoke. It's been tooted up for a while. Ooh, baby, she's rich. Gauges coming online. Good, we got oil pressure, we got a misfire, we got to hook the laptop up to this baby, but it's running. Look at that, boys. She don't want to stay running, but that's all right, we'll get it. Look at that, dude. I was afraid it might have been blowing oil or something, all the smoke, but
dude, I think we dropped a lot of oil in the head.
Dude, I did.
Everything was soaked down there.
I did spill some oil, and I don't see any new oil leaking.
Yeah.
We'll have to let the smoke clear out. Raw Dog, Wall Dog sitting here behind the keyboard, trying to teach him a little bit of HP tuners. As you can see, we got her running and idling. So right now we're in VE only mode because we're going to go tune our VE table. Wow, brain up. A little bit of a high idle because the engine's cold, but it's out here chopping. Gonna go get an energy drink and just do some part throttle stuff because we don't have the wideband in it yet, but you can part throttle tune with the narrow band sensors. So that's what we're gonna go do.